This episode is brought to you by the Dolores Project. The Dolores Project provides 24/7 shelter, supportive housing, and behavioral health services for women, transgender, and non-binary people experiencing homelessness in Denver. The Dolores Project believes everyone deserves a safe place to belong. Their annual fundraiser, Building Belonging, is happening May 7th at Space Gallery in Denver. It's an evening of community, connection, and celebration. Get your tickets now at thedoloresproject.org. Welcome to CityCast Denver. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. So today we're discussing weed drinks, Denver bars going analog, our picks for Mile High Asian Food Week, and of course our wins and fails of the week. Producer Olivia Jewel-Love is here. Hello, Olivia.
Hi.
Hi, and joining us for the first time, she's a food and culture writer for all the local publications we all read every day. Sarah Rosenthal, welcome to CityCast Denver.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Sarah is also, just to plug her, she is the horniest bars writer. No, but everybody was like blowing up online about because Sarah and I were talking about this. She's like, I write all these things, but everyone was like, oh, you wrote horniest bars.
Yeah.
Like you wrote horniest bars. Okay, I know who you are.
I am known as the horny bars.
Yeah, if you read
now.
that one, that was her.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't read this list. What are we qualifying as like a horny, what are you looking for in a horny bar?
Well, I guess when I was compiling the list, I was thinking where I've literally seen people maybe make out or hook up, or places where I've seen my friends go home with people. Never me,
So
obviously.
like maybe it's a place to go meet that person? Like that's the...
Yeah, somewhere where you could do like a meet cute or maybe like a meet drunk, I would say.
What's a bar on this list? I'm
well,
picture this.
Star Bar was number one on there. I had a lot of complaints actually about the list. People are like hornier, more. I'm like, you guys need to calm down. But Star Bar was on there because I don't know, something about karaoke really brings people together. I guess
exhibitionists realm, I think, and.
I guess, yeah, you're kind of like vulnerable.
Perform, yeah.
Tracks was also on the list because I don't think there's anything hornier than Tracks. I've been exposed to unspeakable things at Tracks. So that definitely made the list. I could keep going if you want.
No, I love this. We'll put a link to it in the show notes.
Yeah, for sure.
It's great.
But I never thought of it this way, and now I'm thinking about it differently.
It's a great list.
I love it. We're actually going to talk about bars here in a little bit, but let's start with our first topic. So legislation that would have changed the rules around marijuana and THC-infused drinks in Colorado died this week when its bill's sponsors, Senators Julie Gonzalez and Stephen Woodrow of Denver and Matthew Martinez of Alamosa, pulled the bill before it even was voted on. So what this would do, if it was passed, the bill would have increased the amount of THC allowed in hemp drinks to make them more attractive for sale in spaces like liquor stores, grocery stores, bars, and other places where you can buy alcohol. And I wanted to kind of look at the specifics of how much more THC you could get if this bill had gone through in a drink in a bar space versus a dispensary setting, which is a different level. So it would have gone a hemp-derived THC beverage that contains 1.75 milligrams of THC or less per serving, which currently can be sold in bars and liquor stores, would go up to 10 milligrams per 12-ounce serving, which is a lot to me. But I'm wondering, have you had these drinks before?
I love these drinks.
Okay.
I love these drinks. And I've been very perplexed by these drinks because my family lives in Kansas City. On the Kansas side, where recreational cannabis is not legal, I've been able to get them at the grocery store. And I am super confused because I'm like, how can I get this shit at the grocery store? So I went digging because I'm like, why can I have this? So they're talking about hemp-derived THC drinks. So this is a different thing than what you can get here at the dispensary. Here you can get these drinks. A popular brand is called Keef. It's a THC soda. They have them up to like 100 milligrams.
This blew my mind. Consuming 100 milligrams of THC, liquid-wise, feels...
People do it. I've tasted
dangerous.
them before. I cannot consume that much. I've tried them. Yeah. They taste pretty good for what they are. I'm not going to lie to you. But so this hemp-derived THC drink, they contain a low dose of Delta-9 THC. which is like derived from hemp from the plant instead of derived from marijuana. So it's kind of loophole weed, and that's made legal from a 2018 farm bill in law. So
which makes sense because hemp as an agricultural, as produced agriculturally, has been moving in a different direction.
So that's how you're able to get them at grocery stores and places in states where it's not recreationally legal to have marijuana.
Because it's hemp.
Because it's hemp derived.
Okay.
But it becomes THC through chemical processing. But it's from hemp. And so it's loophole weed, in my opinion. So that's what I've been calling it. So, which people are probably not going to like. But anyway, so this whole thing about how they can make these drinks 10 milligrams of THC from this hemp-derived stuff is because the Farm Bill law, as it is right now, is they contain a low dose of Delta-9 THC, which is a concentration, the law says right now, it's a concentration of 0.3% THC by dry weight or less. And so with the weight-based threshold, that means you can have heavier products like drinks and edibles that contain a higher amount of this Delta-9 THC. So they're derived from that hemp, but they are still under the 0.3 threshold, which is super
so
confusing. But they have found a way to use this law to make a product that gets you high, like 10 milligrams of weed, but it is hemp derived. So it is legal in these states where marijuana is not legal.
That is a lot of science.
It is. Well, obviously I didn't know this, but I was just so confused because I really like these drinks. I think they're really good. And I was confused. I talked about this on the Friday show a few weeks ago, and I was like, I'm mad because why can't I get these here? And so there's a lot of stuff that's gone down, and part of the reason there's a lot of pushback, and there's a lot of reasons why this is not going through, and there's a lot of reasons why this is shut down. A lot of it is, the legal marijuana industry here has taken some hits. It's not doing super well.
Yes.
And
sales are down.
And these people in this industry are saying this would not help because this is the hemp industry. Because
it's the hemp world.
It's the hemp industry, and they wouldn't be beholden to the same rules, and they would just be profiting off of, people using these intoxicating substances, but the hemp industry could kind of do whatever they wanted.
Well, and as someone that I take edibles from time to time, I would not have known any of those differences. You know what I mean?
Well, what you're consuming right now is a marijuana-derived THC product because Colorado has outlawed hemp-derived intoxicating products. So you're not consuming hemp-derived intoxicating products.
But you are in Kansas.
In Kansas,
okay.
I am.
Wait, even the edibles at the dispensary?
These are marijuana derived.
Those are okay.
Yes. Colorado has outlawed intoxicating hemp products.
Oh,
wow.
Where do you stand with edibles, Sarah, or THC drinks or any sort of...
So when I was reading this, it actually made me think of, I think it's pronounced Cirrus, the weed social club on Colfax.
Yes, we have been there.
I have not been there.
Okay.
If I consumed 100 milligram edible... I would just be so far in another stratosphere. I'm not sure if I'd ever come back, but
I'm with you. When I read that, I was like, I would be incapacitated in public.
Yeah. But I was wondering, how do they do it? Because I read there was I think it was an op-ed by a bar owner in Westward.
Yes, we'll talk about that. Skylar McKinley. I think he had some interesting points.
And they were saying how part of being a bartender is seeing when someone's intoxicated and knowing when to stop serving them. So I was like, how do the bud tenders at Cirrus know when to stop serving the weed?
Okay, let me read this quote from Skylar, because I actually pulled this friend of the show. He's been on many times. He's a bar owner. He's a writer. He's a founding deputy director of Colorado's Office of Marijuana Coordination and helped write Colorado's cannabis laws. And Skylar said in Westward, longstanding definitions of, quote, visibly intoxicated rely on a bartender's assessment at the point of sale. But someone who orders a THC seltzer at 7:15 p.m. may not show the full impact until 8:15 or 9:15, long after they've presented as sober and attempted to order another. As a bartender, I would be expected to cut someone off hours before they're impaired just to be safe? Or should we allow them to continue ordering whatever they'd like until they're well past the point of no return? So I had not thought about this aspect of it, but I also thought when I do consume an edible or something, it's kind of a roulette as to when it's going to hit. As for Cirrus, Olivia, do you remember how they rolled this out? Because it comes in, at least when we went there, it was in courses.
Yeah, but I also don't know that you have to do the courses. That was just the package we chose. And they also, like, I remember when we went, it was kind of like, there was kind of like an intake. They were like, what's your like comfortability? Like what's your usual consumption? You know, what kind of high are you trying to get kind of vibe? So they really like were taking care at the beginning to kind of assess the vibe, you know, of like, what's your normal usage? What are you trying to get tonight?
Because also I think they're, at least in this space, they're probably experiencing a lot of first timers as sort of it's like a touristy thing. If you come here, it's kind of hard to consume this stuff if you don't like have a place to do it. And that's what this idea of the social club is.
I also, I don't know. I consume both cannabis products and alcohol, and it feels different for me. Like when I'm consuming the two, like, you know, sometimes when I'm consuming alcohol, it's like I kind of don't, you know, it's easy to like keep drinking and stuff, and I don't necessarily have the same feeling when I'm consuming cannabis products.
Sure.
But also, I don't know. I don't know that I see people get cut off that much at a bar.
I thought about this too
I just don't see people get cut off that much.
Yeah, if you've been to Lodo after like 2 a.m.
Like
people have not been cut off.
I think they're
definitely not cut off.
There are times I probably should have been, and I haven't. And and also, like, you know, thinking about driving impaired after, I think that the people that are going to do it are going to do it, and the people that are going to be responsible and, you know, get a ride are going to do that. I don't know.
I, as a person that doesn't drink anymore for these reasons exactly, I presented as sober super well. It was sort of the joke in my friend group that like
presented as sober.
Bree will drive us home. Bree had 17 gin and tonics tonight, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm cool. Let's like hit the road. Yeah, I mean, it's awful. I'm not bragging. Like, this is awful. I've done my penance for the last 20 years of driving people as a sober person because of that fact that I slipped through the cracks of not harming myself or other people. But I think about how many times I talked completely coherently. Like, I mean, a lot of my friends were my bartenders.
Well, also think about how slammed bartenders are.
Sure.
You know, are you going to do
Especially
like, okay,
like
give me the backwards alphabet before I'm going to, like, no, they're trying to sling drinks. Like, I don't know. I don't know that I've ever, the only time I've heard of someone being cut off was a story of my boyfriend going to Old Chicago and getting cut off after 2 beers. Which he's literally the middle of the day on a Saturday. He's like 6'5", big guy. They were like, nope, you're done. And he's like, I'm fine. And it's like, I just don't know a lot of stories of people getting cut off. And so I'm like, I mean, it's great to hear stories of responsible bartenders that are thinking about that. Like, that's awesome. But like, is it? I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is the wrong argument to be having. Like, yeah, we should be doing that.
I mean, I guess what I took from Skylar's perspective was like, it's hard to assess how people are on, you know, after taking an edible or consuming something like that as a bartender who's trained to see what people look like when they're intoxicated from drinking. But I just wonder, you know, socially, how do you both feel about another option other than alcohol? Because that's one of the arguments here was like sales are down in general for alcohol too, I guess. And like people are not drinking as much. And we've seen a lot of the sober movement and like other spaces for folks to go who aren't drinking but still want to be out. And this is for someone like me, maybe another option at a bar. I have to say I've never done it because I'm too nervous about not knowing what my tolerance is. But I wonder how you both are as people that drink alcohol. How do you feel about that option in a bar space?
I think it definitely plays into the non-alcoholic drink movement, and people are like California sober now.
Sure.
So like they're just smoking weed instead of drinking alcohol. So I do think maybe it's a way for bars to reclaim some of that customer base. Like, look, we have something new for you. Actually, Pigeon, the bar that we're going to be talking about later, they have this interesting lineup of or they're about to release a lineup of RX drinks, but it's not THC. It's recovery drinks like turmeric and teas
So,
or
herbs,
kind of like herbal drinks that would help you. I guess if you don't want to consume alcohol,
but you want some sort of, because this has also been a longstanding thing with this move towards sobriety culture in the last 10 years for sure. I've noticed is, I remember when kombucha all of a sudden was offered at bars, and I love kombucha, so that was awesome. But it's more and more options outside of 15 years ago. You went to a bar and you could either have booze or you could have kind of flat soda out of the gun or Red Bull, or you know what I mean? And so I see the diversification idea of bringing in more options that you could sell something that's a higher price too.
Well, I also think because of this sobriety movement, they're well, here's another, what would I call it? Intoxicant you can try to consume. And it's well, maybe, I mean, I'm sure tons of people would love that, but I do find it kind of funny that they're well, try to get drunk on this instead, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I want it. I don't know. I'm mad. I want it. But I don't know. I also it's
want that option.
I want the option. I want to have it. I want to drink it.
But I think the option would be nice.
I think I should have the option. But also it's more of a solo activity for me, for sure. It's more of an at-home activity because I end up kind of not talking. But I mean, also I probably would be the worst case scenario person in this situation because I could see myself drinking a bunch and then being all right, I'm going to top off the night with a little THC soda, which might not be the best.
But I don't think that's uncommon.
No, I'm sure it's not. And if there was an option, I'd probably do it. And I'd feel bad the next day because it'd be expensive and that would suck. But
people are doing it before they go out anyway, and while they're out, people are always taking edibles or smoking outside of the bar. So
you could go up to any girl in the bar and ask to hit a cart, and she has it.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's probably blueberry flavored. But I don't know. I just think I just like them.
I have seen this move too from my other mom friends. This is sort of the hitting that.
The moms are
hitting the weed pen a little bit when we go out instead
mommy
of
time.
Because they don't want to have a glass of wine, or they only want to have one glass of wine, so they hit their pen instead. So I can see where this would be an argument for can we have this option in the bar, especially if people are buying less alcohol.
And let them let the bar get that revenue. That money.
Well, because I mean, sales are already down. Might as well recoup.
Yeah. Well, it's not happening this session, that's for sure. It does sound like, I don't know, I found Skylar's arguments very compelling as a person that owns a bar and worked on cannabis legislation. He had some really interesting points. So I could see if they went back to the drawing board, maybe consulting those concerns that he brought up.
I have a hack for you if you want to do this. You probably already know, but there's these, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of things, but there's these little things called rip sticks, and they sell unflavored ones, and you can rip them open and they dissolve into a drink. So you can make your own.
Oh, wow.
You can make your own.
I have done those as well.
THC drink.
Yeah.
And just put it in your purse and surpass it. You didn't hear it from me, unless you're seeing this on Instagram. Then maybe you did.
Are already doing this with edibles and weed pens, so I don't think it's the end of the
I've
world.
done this before. I was I want a THC soda, and I was DIY, baby. So
I like that recommendation. That'll take us out. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're continuing talking about bars, but from a different perspective. Okay, we're back. We're talking about Denver bars that are rejecting modernity, that are taking on a theme or experience of an analog experience, if you will. I think there's some, you brought up Pigeon from the owners of Pon Pon that opened on Ogden and between 14th and Colfax. old Denverites will know this space is the Earl of Sandwich. But
Nice.
it's a chess bar, I think is the big theme, is they have chess boards like into their, it's a beautiful, the photos are gorgeous. Other bars like Malinche Audio Bar also they focus on vinyl. Peach Crease focuses on a listening experience.
Butts.
The Good Luck Club is a 2000s themed bar, which I went to their Instagram and was laughing because one of their flyers shows a picture of my first Nokia phone.
Aww.
And I'm like 21 when I got this phone, so it's like I'm
Did it
curious.
have Snake?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes, for folks who want to picture this Nokia phone, it's the one you could play Snake on. Sarah, can I ask how old you are, just to put you in perspective of this?
I'm 34, so
Okay.
I'm like solidly millennial.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Olivia's solidly Gen Z, and
I did look it up because I'm like at the tail
you're
end.
the tail end.
Yeah, it's 1997 is the cutoff.
Okay.
I'm 1998.
And I'm I'm Gen X, I'm 1980, but I'm on that very end of the 80-81. So I would just love to hear from both of you what you think about this move towards, it seems to be spaces that are creating something that is not connected to the internet, for lack of a better term, or is creating something that is, unplugging us, essentially. What do you guys think?
Well, when I was looking into it, I was kind of looking into this trend of nostalgia, and I came across this term called anemoia, which is nostalgia for something that you've never experienced. So I find it interesting, especially for like Gen Z and like the younger generation, that it's like we're looking for vinyl and Nintendo 64 and CDs, and it's like you miss this time that you've actually never been to. It's romanticizing the past in a way. And I guess, they never got to go to the club without cell phones and Instagram. So that's a thing too.
Absolutely.
And especially at Pigeon, like I was talking to the owner, Andy, and the way they designed it and with the chessboards, it's like forcing you to put your phone down. You're kind of like squeezed in the way they designed the chairs. And you're literally next to somebody and talking to them, like forced to talk to them in a way. And you're playing chess. It's an intensive game, but it's like fun too. They have like,
but it seems like they're pushing a social atmosphere that is not interfered by phones.
Another funny point at Good Luck Club, actually, I saw they're advertising a Throwback Thursday event. I think it's on May 28th, and it's for singles only, and it's to go meet people the old-fashioned way, old-fashioned meet cutes. And I was like, oh my God.
Like just meeting people in person?
Yeah, just meeting in
At a bar.
person. Right.
Which is where we used to meet people, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think people still meet there, but like the pre-phone meeting where you couldn't investigate who someone was. You just
met
like
people
kind
on MySpace, Brie.
I totally did.
Did you?
But before,
I was kind of too young to meet someone on MySpace.
Oh yeah, I had a MySpace boyfriend for sure.
Oh.
I won't say his name, but
Dox him.
no, he would like kind of love it. That's the weird part. But I did meet people before that at shows and stuff that was prior to even having a cell phone or having being able to invest, like find, do a Google search of somebody.
Yeah.
But I love that this is a nostalgic throwback, is to just go to a bar and talk
meet
to
someone.
people.
Yeah.
Olivia, you're this age group that maybe does have this nostalgia first. Do you have this nostalgia for things that you didn't experience directly?
Yeah, I mean, I had a pretty analog childhood for the most part. I mean, I didn't grow up with just like the way I was raised. It wasn't that the stuff didn't exist, but like my parents, just the way they chose to raise us. We didn't have cable TV. We didn't have video games, stuff like that. And like my mom had, before I was born, but like we had a dark room in my house. So she did
she actually developed
film and photography. So like, so I do find myself like, especially this year, I felt like a huge push towards like analog, especially in like physical media. Like I mean, like I grew up with like CDs and stuff. So like I still use CDs. That's just like always like been a thing for me. I never really like fully got into the vinyl thing. I can't afford a good setup. So like I can't make it sound good. But like, I don't know. I'm really into like I remember at one of our members events, which you can come to if you join membership.citycast.fm. But I was talking about one of the things I wanted to do this year was make a physical photo album. I wanted to print out photos and have them like actually in a book, like we used to.
Yeah.
And one of the people there was like, "Oh my God, like that's just a photo album." And I was like, to me, it's not. To me, it's a physical photo album. Like I just have all my photos on my phone, and I want to have them like where I can like look at them and touch them. And like I've talked about this before, I'm like obsessed with photo booths right now because I want. Because like, yeah,
you get
I can
a physical piece of
like I can have my friend take a picture of me on my phone, but like I want to have it like printed out for me. I want to hold it. I want to see it. I've been keeping like a real journal. I've been junk journaling. Like I love.
Or it being on the wall in your apartment and someone can see that comes in and ask you about it, and then you get to tell the story of that friendship.
Part of the reason I've always loved like little trinkets and stuff. I just love physical ephemera.
Yeah. Sarah, does the nostalgia, is that something that draws you into a space like this?
I think it's the nostalgia, and also, like I said, I'm in my 30s, and I don't want to like always go out and get super blasted and like, you're surrounded by loud music. I mean, sometimes that's the vibe, but
yeah,
I think a space like Pigeon or somewhere like ESP, it's like a more
Another
mature
vinyl
space,
bar,
but it's not like, at least there's something happening. There's like the hum of the people in the background, but it's not super wild. So that's kind of what draws me to those spaces. And also like if you know a song or you don't, you could turn to the person and say, "Hey, what is this?" Or literally
start that conversation.
Yeah, start a conversation in that kind of way.
I love that.
Yeah.
I do. I realize raising my son the way that your parents did, because my son is 4 and he has a CD player. He doesn't have access to, well, he does have a playlist on Spotify that we up like for the car and stuff, but his media of choice that he can pick in his room is tapes and CDs.
How old is your son?
He's 4.
Oh, wow.
And he's obsessed with music. We're a big music family, but he also has records too that he's picked out. But like we're looking into getting a Nintendo 64. Again, for me, it's a lot of just not being attached to the internet because I don't need him to have access to all of that yet. But I do. It's interesting that your parents were doing this early on.
We had like a computer room.
I know, you did have a hermit crab blog.
The computer room became a thing like probably like late elementary school. Like I was still in the era where we went to like typing class and stuff. But like I didn't have like unfettered access to the internet. Like there was like time, and like my parents figured out like my brother got really into RuneScape and then like had to be cut off, and like I was on Webkins, like so like there was nothing. And then my special interest was hermit crabs, so I created a blog. I was of that era, but like I mean the thing you said about like having like phones in the club and stuff, I got Instagram in like 7th, 8th grade.
That's crazy
but that
me.
was when Instagram first rolled out, and like I got Snapchat then, which could have been really bad probably, but like luckily I was not doing like nefarious stuff as a child, so like I wasn't, but I knew a lot of my friends were, like a lot of people were doing bad stuff on there, but like and also I've left everything on my Instagram from those ages, so it's literally a time capsule.
It's actually really cute.
Oh, it's so embarrassing though. Like
I'm gonna go scroll.
Yeah,
I'm gonna deep scroll.
Go scroll. All my stuff from middle school is still there. It's so cringe. Like it's awful, but I left it because it's so funny.
Sweet.
Oh, it's hilarious. I left it. Most people like wiped theirs or like archived it, but I'm like, it's such a time capsule because I'm like, I've literally like had this same account, never changed my username, because it's also such a sign of the times. It's literally like waste of my life.
I love your username.
I know. I think it's great.
It's hilarious. And I'm like, I made this when I was in middle school and like.
But a lot of us don't have that.
I know.
To look back on.
But yeah, no, I've never had I got a phone in like 5th or 6th grade. So like.
I will say like we millennials, we did have Facebook. So one of the scariest things after going out in college was to look at the pictures my friends would upload on Facebook the next day.
Like
I'd be like, why? And it would be an album of like 400 photos of you just like sloshed.
Do you think that that's part of this move well, I guess my question would be, in a space like this that is dedicated to more analog forms of entertainment, is it appropriate to have your phone out? Is that something that folks are leaning away from, or is that still just part of the situation? Because that gets to me to the cringe thing that you brought up, Olivia, that people are very concerned about.
I feel like it's
being documented.
I feel like it's like an escape from that.
Okay.
You know,
Like people are treating those spaces maybe as.
Well, I haven't spent a lot of time in these spaces, so I'm not super sure. But I feel like if you're actually like, for me, when I'm seeking out these spaces and I'm doing these activities specifically to be analog and to log off, which is like, you know, I work in a very digital field. We are
in front
online.
of our computers all day.
So like when I am off, I am off. I am really trying not to be online and like, you know, constantly documenting everything.
And I think that might be what drives folks to these spaces too, is the thought that maybe you can be offline and still have something to talk about or enjoy mutually together. The thing that struck me about these spaces is a lot of human curation. Humans are picking these themes, and humans are picking the games that are in these video game bars and picking the vinyl that's in there. And I like that aspect because I love a human curated thing.
Is it Fellow Traveler that does cassettes?
Do they do? Because they used to have a cassette night at Sputnik a million years ago,
I think Fellow Traveler in Inglewood might do a cassette night. Maybe.
That sounds cool.
I love that.
A lot of these places, the owners, it's like their collection of vinyls.
Yeah.
And then they are literally flipping the vinyl, choosing them, curating the vibe based on who's in the bar that night. So I do appreciate that aspect. I was speaking to one of the owners at Peach Crease Club. Stuart is his name. And he said people are like back to like the point you were saying about the junk journal and actually like having physical items. People are longing for like tactile, comforting things that get you away from like something like a Spotify playlist. Or,
oh my God. Also matchbooks. That's been a new thing for me, which is,
matchbook
it is such a like old school thing. My mom had a matchbook collection, but it's like, and I don't smoke, but I see a matchbook and I'm like, ooh, yay. And I take it because I'm like, physical ephemera, I want it.
Two of my favorite bands of all time sold matchbooks at their merch tables in the 90s, and I still have those. I have a Possum Dixon matchbook and a Super
Drag
matchbook.
I love it. I want it. I have a little collection going. It's
love
great.
it.
Same.
This makes me want to check out these spaces. I have to be honest. I don't go to a ton of bars because I don't drink, but my
you
husband's
might like them.
Yeah. And my husband's a huge vinyl. He runs a vinyl record label. Like he loves vinyl, and he's loved this resurgence, and he loves the mutual idea of, you know, getting together and listening and doing something very analog and tactile. Well, we'd love to hear what you think. Are you into this, not only the nostalgia component, but the sort of physical media component of these bars? Let us know, 720-500-5418. You can always leave us a voicemail, which we love, or send us a text. And we're going to take a quick break. And next is our bonus segment. So if you are a member, you will get access to this segment. If you are not a member, you don't get to hear it. But you can go to membership.citycast.fm right now and sign up, and then you can get this little bonus segment. Okay, it's our wins and fails of the week. Things that ruled, things that sucked. As always, we start with our fails so we can end on a good note. Olivia, what's your fail this week?
My fail comes from a story from the Colorado Sun that the U.S. Department of Labor has changed the way that wages are calculated for H-2A seasonal workers. And so employers can now pay $2 to $3 less per hour to those workers who receive housing as part of their work contracts. We have probably around 3,500 of those workers who work in Colorado's fields. And so a lot of them make around like $17 an hour, and they'll now be making around $15 an hour because of this new law. And so like a lot of those people work for work in Palisade to get you your Palisade peaches.
It's really rough work too.
And I just think that this is a bummer that they're going to be making less money. It's really hard, backbreaking work that other people don't want to do. And these migrant workers, they're going to be making less money, and I'm just bummed about it.
This comes not long after we renamed Cesar Chavez Day for farm workers, which I find frustrating for these folks.
And the new rule, the Department of Labor isn't calling it a wage decrease or a pay deduction. They are calling it a downward compensation adjustment. So
that almost sounds worse.
Yeah. It's alternative facts. It doesn't show up as a deduction on paychecks. The paychecks are just simply smaller.
Okay.
So So this is that's
very frustrating.
It just sucks. Yeah.
Sarah, your fail.
My fail is I heard that City Records on Colfax is going to be closing in May.
Oh, no.
I know. They will be opening in a new location later this year, so keep an eye out for that. They're not disappearing altogether. But, with it, they're taking their Friday night open mic, which they did, I think, every third Friday of the month. So with the Pearl closing, that open mic's gone. So the open mic scene is like kind of in flux right now.
Yeah.
But Kaylee Bender, who is the open mic host, she'll probably her handle is No Kaylee on Instagram if you want to follow her and if you're into the open mic stuff. Yeah, she's going to be doing like events and
somewhere else. Yeah.
And then once it eventually reopens, she'll be picking it back up. But yeah, it's just a bummer, and it speaks to the construction on Colfax that keeps closing down businesses. So it's not just restaurants, it's the arts and culture too that is being affected by the construction.
Well, hopefully they'll find a new space that we can go to and support them. But in the meantime, you've got a little time.
Well, Little Birdie told me that they're finalizing details on a space, but they're not
keep your
ready
eye out.
Yes, keep an eye out.
Okay. My fail is to whoever stole the 4,000 copies of Denver's magazine out of a storage locker in an apartment complex.
Yeah.
What?
Patty wrote about this for Westward. They were just like in a storage locker and someone stole them. And
Like,
this
why?
is a small local publication that this is a lot of money for a small.
Censorship? What are they trying to hide?
Oh.
Well, that's kind of Patty talked about this a little bit in the story that this has happened to Westward before, where people remove the magazines from the boxes. And I actually had this happen when I wrote a profile of a friend whose ex-boyfriend was very upset about it, and he took photographs of him dumping hundreds of Westwards into a dumpster because he didn't want anyone to read the story about her.
Why take pictures?
This happened to the Colorado Times plain dealer.
Oh,
in
right.
Ouray.
Yeah. So they don't really know what happened,
That
but
sucks.
luckily the printer that prints the magazines for them gave them a deal to be able to reprint them because they have subscriptions and they have advertisers that they're, responsible to. So just like
boo,
loser move.
Boo.
Okay, let's talk about our wins. Sarah, what's your win this week?
My win is I saw that Alteño, Johnny Curiel's restaurant in Cherry Creek, made Condé Nast Travelers like best new restaurants in the world.
Wow.
And there was like a bunch of competition, literal global competition, like in New York City, Rio de Janeiro, Kenya, Milan. So I think it's a major win for Denver's food scene, putting us on the global map.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
and I love
awesome.
Alteño. Get the cornbread if you go there. It makes it the best just for the cornbread.
Oh, fancy.
Yes.
I was kind of thinking about this when I was strolling through the Mile Asian Food Week list of vendors, and I was just like, damn, Denver's doing it. Like, I know this is not a surprise by any means. We have Michelin star chefs, but like it is extending beyond fine dining into these spaces where we're seeing food that we just haven't really had before in the city. And that's really exciting. It's really always nice when we get a little national recognition.
Yeah. International
Recognition. I love it. Well, I'm really excited because Film on the Rocks lineup just dropped.
Oh, what movies are there?
Well, Princess Bride, of course, Bridesmaids, Jurassic Park.
Village.
And I'm going to be at the July 13th screening of Little Miss Sunshine because
Amazing.
Devotchka's playing
Really?
the soundtrack. And of course, my husband's band Wheelchair Sports Camp is opening. But I was just so excited. I was like, ooh, a cool excuse, like a way to get to see Devotchka at Red Rocks, but with the movie because they've been doing this tour where they're playing songs from the movie.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's so fun.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. Olivia, take us out. What's your win?
My win goes to us here at CityCast Denver because we won 2 awards at the Society of Professional Journalists Top of the Rockies competition.
Yes, we did.
Which is really cool. I know we're so funny and hilarious and silly, but we are also professional journalists. So just a reminder of that. We won first place for our daily newsletter. That if you're not subscribed to that, you totally should. We'll get it in your inbox every morning. And we won second place for a really weird, crazy episode we did where we interviewed a conservative talk show host, Jeff Hunt, about how he got kicked out of protest. And we won awards for those, which is really cool. And I feel like we don't hype ourselves up enough, but we did that. So
And that was a group effort, I just want to say, on that show with Jeff Hunt, because you and Paul were really onto this. And like, how do we tell this story or talk to this, quotes, the other side, or someone that we don't necessarily hear from all the time. And then I did that very interesting interview with him.
Yeah, it was wild. It was such a, out of our comfort zone thing. Yeah. And I don't know, shout out us. So,
it was a team effort. We did a great job. And I'm so glad we got to be recognized.
Yeah,
thanks for bringing that up.
I know. I just wanted to shout us out. And thanks to everybody who listens every day and has joined our membership program and continues to support us so we can do cool stuff like that. So,
that was a nice thought. Well, Olivia and Sarah, thank you so much. This was really fun.
Yeah, this was great.
Thank you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were Paul Caroli, Olivia Jewell-Love, and Adrian Gonzalez. Michelle Palizzi, Natalia Aldana, and Elizabeth Kama write our morning newsletter. Abby Madigan runs our social media. I'm Brie Davies, your host. Our music is by Los Mocachetes with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. Our ad music is by Cuba Quartet from Epidemic Sounds via Getty Images. If you haven't already, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at CityCast Denver, and tell Peach Crease Club owners Alex Jump and Stuart Jensen about us next time you see them. And hey, thanks to our new neighbors Rocky T and Katie S, who just joined our membership program. You can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Denver neighbor today at membership.citycast.fm. You can sign up for our daily newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. See you next week.